Good morning, Salibonani. Welcome to Asake Online. My name is Sikhangele Ngwenya, your host on the weekly affair. We are talking social issues, current issues, and COVID-related issues. As we all know that COVID changed our lives and we had to adjust to the new normal. Today with me in studio, I have the informal traders who are going to catch up and see whether they managed to restart and boost their business post the COVID restrictions. Welcome to the show. Please introduce yourselves.
Thank you, madam. Good morning, viewers across the world. My name is Michael Ndiweni with Bulawayo Vendors and Traders Association, and I am the Executive Director.
Good morning, Ska. Good morning, Ska. I'm Aleta Nyati. I'm a Bulawayo makeup artist running a cosmetic shop.
So Aleta, kindly share your experience seeing that COVID had locked everyone inside the house and people were forced to trade online and offline, although the police were harassing people. How did you survive the COVID era? If you can just share briefly.
Okay, thank you, Ska. Basically, COVID taught us what is online. So I've managed to grow my business. I've managed to run my business through online marketing. Yes, through the use of WhatsApp. I'm a status on a lawana eswa poster. Instead of posting things that don't bring income, I post those things that I sell. I post my work on my WhatsApp statuses. I've even managed to grow my Instagram account, my Facebook account, because most people are online. Most people spend their time besebenzisa internet. So kulokuthi uqalisa ukubhoda sithi uyathengisa nxa uposta ku Facebook kwambani uposta abantu babebona ukuthi uthengisa. So far it's helped me grow my business.
Michael, the city council moved vendors from the city center to the suburbs, or rather emalokichini. How did that affect the vendors, seeing that it was during the COVID era?
Yeah, it has been a challenge, I would say a huge challenge for informal traders in light of what the COVID did. Just like my sister said, there have been challenges. But what we've done is that we have trained informal traders on use of ICTs. To say that as much as markets were closed in 2020, I think the better part of 2020 markets were closed, totally shut down for that matter. So what we did was that we then started online trainings using WhatsApp to train them on use of social media to market their products. And top of the list was WhatsApp Business. So in WhatsApp Business, you can actually upload your products, your photos of what you are selling. Abantu babone lapha VMA statuses, abantu babone, and then they buy. And also what we did beyond just online trading, Ska, is that we also say that you need to try and start producing goods locally. Because if you are waiting to market what you order out of the country, then borders were closed and then you'll be stuck. So we said, let's find ways to produce goods locally and then begin to sell online, of course, what we produce internally. And also have an application that we have that we launched under Zetara PFC's Mele Consortium, and the application also you can upload your products that you are selling, and people be able to log in and also see and buy what you are selling. And then in light of our second question, to say that how then were the traders able to do business since there were restrictions from people going into the CBD. What we did was that we tried to engage the local authority to decentralize markets to get them closer to the townships when the government relaxed the conditions. So what we did was that we pushed council to also try and implement its what they call a decongestion policy. That policy meant that they are going to identify open spaces within the suburban townships or the high density areas, and then in those areas then set up our markets. And our role then was one to encourage traders to regularize their business, to get licenses, and then do trading. So we are seeing that unfolding, and a number of traders as we speak right now, they are getting licenses, and top of the list is Pumula North has been doing well. Over 200 traders in that area have been licensed, and of course other areas like Outer Park.
Okay. So during COVID, I think it's the first year or the second year, the government promised that it's going to cushion informal traders. How far did it go in that regard? And also, later maybe share your experience, whether you got the cushioning and how it helped you, if it did help you, if it did come to you.
Okay.
You can start from your personal experience.
From my personal experience, I really didn't get the cushioning. From my personal experience again, what has really helped me is online marketing. I'm sorry, can I emphasize that? Being able to market my products online, on WhatsApp status, on Instagram, it's what has actually grown my business. It's not only about the people in my area that I've been selling to. It's people from other areas. Even with Sibale restriction in Aliana, I would find someone coming into town in parties. Si restrictive say town, I would market and someone would be like, I want this. In parties, when you am those essential workers, when you am 17, go to parties and the client am like essential work. That is how I used to trade, marketing products online. That is how I managed to.
Yeah, just to weigh in. So the government actually promised that they're going to give some cushioning support to informal traders. And we thought that is going to be something very sustainable that is going to help them to at least continue surviving under the then conditions. But then what then happened was that the government gave, I would say, a paltry $5 equivalent standard RTGs, and it was kind of a once-off payment through one of the mobile transfer facility. I would have named the facility, but maybe since we're on TV, maybe it would be free marketing, of course. So, but the concern is that was not sustainable, and it could not do much because the bigger part of 2020, traders stayed about 6 months at home, not doing anything, and then to give them 100 RTGs really for them to restart their business, it wasn't enough. So, well, we would say that in terms of people getting from our membership, I think we had about 70% that received the money, but it wasn't really meaningful, so to speak.
The $5?
Yes, $5, yes.
Okay, maybe also a follow-up question to that.
Yeah.
Is BVTA and other organizations working with vendors, what was your role? How did you assist the vendors? And up to now, what measures are there in place in case COVID comes back or another disaster? What strategies are there to cushion vendors or just to prepare them? Yeah,
so we also did some work around mental support. COVID was stressing a lot of people, so we did mental work. We engaged experts in mental work and tried to do some kind of what we call psychosocial support to try and make them understand that these things do happen. And then we also did a lot of trainings, capacity trainings or capacity building around I spoke about producing goods locally. So we grouped these traders in clusters. So we had a cluster that is focusing on garments production, a cluster that is focusing on food production, a cluster that is focusing on detergents and other products. And then we engaged also experts to train them in producing such. And also, like I said, that we also had the application, the online application that we introduced, but also we encouraged them to also even instead of going across the border to go and buy goods or to go and sell, we encourage them to actually do the bulking, aggregate themselves, come together, then do bulking, and then come and share the goods. So these are some of the things that we're trying to do in terms of trying to support them to cope with the impact of COVID. And beyond that, also we provided support in terms of dealing with the cost of compliance. Some traders are supposed to open markets. I think if you remember, sometime in August, September, that about 2020, government yadi khonana markets avule, but abantu kumele besanitize, kumele bebe lama thermometer, kumele bebe lama mask, and then we also provide support in terms of giving them sanitizers, masks. So we're distributing those across markets in the city of Bulawayo. So this is work that we try to do, and also we try to encourage them to even engage virtually. So we had spaces where they're engaging policymakers, local authority officials through Zoom. We did trainings for them to be able to engage on Zoom, have meetings, because they had issues still even in COVID that were supposed to be ventilated and or supposed to be addressed. So we continuously engaged through Zoom, and also we had meetings on WhatsApp, the WhatsApp chat rooms where they were discussing issues that affect them. And then also we lobbied government even to open markets and declare traders as essential service providers, because we felt that they are anchoring the economy. If you look at our economy right now, 70% of our GDP comes from informal sector. So ungavala, then uvale economy, almost 70% of it is closed. So you can maintain your introduce that facility. You remember the blitz with Bahlaj. It was part of our efforts, but he recognized the sector, and because it plays that role.
Okay, that's interesting. I might say you guys are doing amazing work, as we all know that things are really bad in Zimbabwe. So according to your experience working with these people, do you think they still have the money to restart or boost their businesses? What is the situation like? And if the money is there, they're trying to go back to how things were, how long do you think it's going to take for them to actually recover and be in the original state?
Yeah, some are struggling to restart. If you move around marketplaces, you will see that maybe my sister lapho ngomove market yabona kulezikhala abantu abakho, but abanye bakhona, so abanye failed to restart. But what we did was that abanye we tried to support them with small nominal kind of support. Abanye we tried to train them on iSouth to say, come together as groups, join a group that is already doing something, saying for instance in the market link 20 laphan, come together and lichayela $1 and then support one person for this month, and then by so doing then you'll be able to deliver sana. Otherwise no one will come and dish money to you and say find ways as traders. So the idea of coming together with associations is to try and build that solidarity around supporting each other in business.
Okay, thank you for that response. But I understand you get most of your products outside the country.
Yes.
So what did the closure of borders do to you, and how is opening of borders improving your life, considering that you guys lost money, you're not making money? So is it helpful to you now, or it's quaternary? There are other primary issues that you need to address as a makeup artist.
Okay, first of all, as a makeup artist, the COVID actually affected the business for us. No one was buying makeup, no one was applying makeup. So when the borders closed, issue skin care. When the borders closed, people wanted to make sure that their skin is good, wanted to take care of their skin. But most of the products that women in Zimbabwe use are imported from South Africa. So most of the women couldn't get access to them. And if they got access to them in Zimbabwe, it's either the prices were a bit high. Okay. So, kwabanzima sibili. However, I don't know if I'm allowed to still refer back to online marketing. However, I took advantage of that. I had someone to order stock for me from South Africa during the COVID and send it to Zimbabwe. And we used to use those trucks. It was a bit expensive, but it also boosted our businesses. So basically, ngangi market uthi mina amayama shops I value, like people couldn't even get into town. So I decided to market around my area. So I'd market online, and like I'd stay in such and such an area, mina ngila amafuthelwanita, and people around my area would come in. So as long as you manage to market ama products during that era, and within that area I managed to make a few dollars out of it, just selling around my area. It was difficult to get the products from outside the country. Sometimes it would take a week or two, but because umuntu abe wafundile amafutha, I had my clients.
You had to make a plan.
I had to make a plan. It was very expensive. Yeah. It was very, very expensive. But I had to make a plan. Back
to you, Mdladla, probably my last question to you. How far have you gone in trying to formalize the informal sector? I heard people were talking about it at some point to say we want to formalize this thing because most of the people are in the informal sector. So you might as well have people formalizing. So how far have you gone with that?
So yeah, we have been trying to do work around formalization, and I mentioned earlier a bit. So it's a very complex kind of work around formalization. Why? Because first you need to deal with the laws that govern informality. You need to look at the laws, whether they recognize, actually they understand that there is informality beyond just knowing that kulama traders. So in Bulawayo here, we've done work around changing or amending the bylaw that governs informality. So that we successfully did, and that law was gazetted in 2020 as Statutory Instrument 181 of 2020. So that part has been done for the city, but other cities don't yet done. Nationally, we have been trying to also engage the government, and fortunately now, a few weeks back, also a month, we had meetings. The Minister of Public Service, Labour and Social Welfare moved around, engaging associations and players in the ecosystem of informality to understand areas or to consult and get views on the idea of formalization. Because it takes a lot of things to formalize, but we need just to understand that formalization doesn't mean that getting a trading license only. You need to deal with issues around the access to social security. For instance, umuntu avele pension, umuntu avele medical aid. So it's a whole complex kind of work, but steps have been done. Like I said, currently there's been consultation. We are developing what is called a national formalization strategy with government, and of course working with the associations and other stakeholders. So it's work in progress, but local level, like I said, steps have been taken around for regularizing traders to get licenses. It's one step of formalizing, but the comprehensive or the holistic approach that we have also protecting people from social security, I said, pension, access to medical aid, even insurance in terms of their goods. You find ukuthi umnikazi we-building is insured, but abantu abarenta phakathi abakho insured. So ungatshela zimpahla, that's the end of you. So we're trying to say even that also should be addressed ukuthi kube insurance. Even what you call this the extent funds. For instance, umuntu ehambe siyawota because I think there's also a misconception that umuntu ama vendors, they go and order goods out of the country, but there are people who produce goods here bayithengisa phandle. So umuntu engalimali esendleleni akula compensation for traders, uyazibonela. So we're trying to engage government to cover all those areas. So those areas could be covered only if there is a holistic kind of formalization framework.
Okay, over to you, Aletta. If there's anything that you want to react to and probably give advice to other makeup artists.
Okay, thank you, Ska. He mentioned something ukuthi emkambo le market uthola ulama gaps. Okay, good response yami ngakhona lokho, it could be ukuthi abantu ba discover ukuthi online marketing works. So they are selling from home. People are now selling from home. They are selling from their cars. So it could be one of the reasons why bengaphendukanga kuma markets abo emkambi abo. Umuntu uzithengisela endlini. As long as ukwanisa ku market, you can sell from home. You can sell from your car. So it could be the reason why kula markets.
Sure.
Not because maybe imali abala kumbi business ya broker, but it could be they selling from home. Have you ever found out why those vendors have not come back?
Yeah, bakhona sibila bangala mali, bakhona bathi abasela mazoqalisa siyasikhulume labo. So we've tried to assist some, finding partners who could come in and assist them. Abanye sibazamile bancedisa. But of course maybe abanye, of course, like you're saying, they could be selling online, but abanye they are doing both. Like I said, some of them have been trained to trade online, so they do both now. Umuntu avele fake into zakhe lapha WhatsApp business and also trading at the same time in the market. But I wanted just to say towards the end of my reaction is that I think we need to embrace the fourth industrial revolution. ICTs, trading online is the way to go. Even the skills to engage online, meetings, working remotely, there's nothing that we can do online. We need to change. COVID has actually taught us that things can actually work even working from home. We can do business, and like my sister is saying. So I think there are so many opportunities that we can actually explore by embracing the technology and doing business online. And we just hope that the service providers like the three major companies in Zimbabwe and government could actually try and make sure that accessibility is improved for even connected people in rural areas. If traders were in the rural areas want to trade their products, they are producing artifacts and agri products and others. They want to trade those online. So sometimes they have to commute to the cities, taking buses when there's a lockdown, when there are restrictions they can't do. So I think, but if they are trained and they are able to connect, they could be able to trade online and also get their products into the city. Yeah.
Okay. You want to say something before we
artists to upcoming makeup artists? In case there's another lockdown, I teach makeup tutorials. So I usually tell my students that makeup begins with skincare. So an advice that I'll give to the next makeup artist, to a makeup artist that was affected by COVID, try selling products. Try including products to your services. Sell skincare. People, you have to take care of their skin first before you apply that makeup. It helps. So to those clients of yours that you regularly do makeup, advise them on which skincare products to use and be the one that supplies those skincare products to them. Or you can look for other services to do. There are a lot of things that we can do. We were taught multiple streams of income. So find something that you can do or essential. Otherwise, kungaze kube le lockdown futhi abantu lokhu bakufuna lima impide engadini abantu babefuna ukudla.
Thank you, Aleta and Michael, for joining us today. It was really an affair. We managed to catch up with the informal traders. We now know where it's going and where we're coming from, the readiness and preparedness in case we have another strong wave of COVID-19. Thank you for watching The Weekly Affair. You can follow us on all our social media platforms at ZW. From me and the crew behind the scene, that's it for today. See you on the next show.